We have all seen it. That unmistakable look, the lowered head, the averted eyes, the slightly flattened ears, maybe even a slow, deliberate tail tuck. It's the guilty look. You walk into the living room, see the shredded cushion, and there they are, sitting amidst the carnage, looking like they just confessed to a felony. We instantly interpret it as remorse, as an admission of wrongdoing. It's so powerful, so convincing that it feels impossible to deny. But what if I told you that this iconic guilty look has absolutely nothing to do with guilt? What if it's not an admission of canine morality, but a profound reflection of our human psychology? Today, we are decoding why we see guilt in our dogs, and what that projection reveals about us. And the science, specifically from researchers like Alexandra Horowitz at Barnard College, is going to challenge everything you thought you knew about your dog's inner world. Stay with us, because understanding this is not just about your dog's behavior. It's about understanding a fundamental aspect of your own mind. Let us set the record straight. Dogs do not experience guilt in the human sense. Guilt is a complex secondary emotion, requiring a sophisticated understanding of morality, right versus wrong, and the ability to reflect on past actions with regret. It is a cognitive leap that even some humans struggle with. What your dog is experiencing when they give you that look is a reaction to your behavior. Think about it. When do you usually see the guilty look? It is almost always when you have discovered something they have done, or when you are about to scold them. Their body language is not saying, "I regret chewing your shoe." It is saying, "You are upset, and I am trying to appease you." This distinction is crucial because it shifts the focus from your dog's supposed moral failing to the dynamics of your shared communication. They are masters at reading our emotional cues, our tone of voice, our posture, and they react accordingly, not out of an internal sense of wrongdoing, but out of a deep desire to avoid conflict and maintain harmony with their most important resource, you. So, if the guilty look is not about canine guilt, what is it about? It is about us. It is a powerful example of anthropomorphism, the attribution of human characteristics or behavior to an animal. We project our own complex emotions and moral frameworks onto our dogs because it helps us make sense of their world, and perhaps our own. We want our dogs to understand right from wrong, to feel remorse, because that aligns with our human understanding of relationships and accountability. This projection is not a flaw. It is a deeply human trait, born from our desire for connection and our innate storytelling abilities. But it can also lead to misunderstandings, especially when we punish a dog for guilt they do not possess. In a groundbreaking 2009 study, Dr. Alexandra Horowitz at Barnard College put this to the test. She found that dogs displayed more guilty behaviors when their owners scolded them, regardless of whether the dog had actually disobeyed. The look was a reaction to the owner's cues, not the dog's actions. This reveals that the guilty look is less about canine morality and more about our human need to interpret and assign meaning to behavior, even when that meaning is not truly there. Number 1. The anthropomorphism trap. Our tendency to anthropomorphize is not inherently bad. It is a natural byproduct of our social intelligence. We are wired to understand and connect with other beings, and when those beings are our dogs, we often use the only framework we have, our own human experience. The guilty look is a classic example of this. We see a dog with a lowered head and assume they feel shame, because that is how a human might express shame. But for a dog, these behaviors are often appeasement signals, a way to defuse tension, avoid punishment, or communicate submission. They are saying, "I acknowledge your displeasure, and I mean no harm." This is not about morality. It is about social survival. The trap lies in the consequences of misinterpretation. If we believe our dog is feeling guilty, we might scold them more severely, or for longer, reinforcing their appeasement behaviors without actually addressing the root cause of the misbehavior. We might even inadvertently teach them to fear our reactions rather than to understand what we want them to do or not do. Number 2. The power of our reactions. Dogs are incredibly attuned to human emotion. They have evolved alongside us for tens of thousands of years, becoming masters at reading our facial expressions, body language, and tone of voice. When we discover a mess or a chewed item, our frustration, anger, or disappointment is palpable. Our posture stiffens, our voice changes, our eyebrows might furrow. Our dogs do not need to understand the why behind our anger. They simply perceive the anger itself. Their guilty behaviors are often an immediate, learned response to these human cues. They have learned that when you look or sound a certain way, displaying these appeasement signals can sometimes de-escalate the situation or lessen the severity of your reaction. It is a survival strategy, not a moral confession. This highlights our immense influence on our dogs' emotional states. We are their primary source of safety and security, and our emotional shifts have a direct impact on their sense of well-being. Recognizing this power allows us to be more mindful of how our own emotional displays shape our dog's behavior. If that just made you see your relationship with your pet in a completely different way, hit subscribe. We explore the science of the human-pet bond every week and what it reveals about us. All right, let us keep going. Number 3. Reading our cues. Dogs are constantly scanning us for information. They are experts at interpreting the smallest shifts in our posture, the subtlest changes in our voice, the fleeting expressions on our faces. This incredible ability is what makes them such wonderful companions, but it also means they are highly sensitive to our disapproval. When we walk into a room and see a mess, our energy instantly shifts. Even before we utter a word, our dog has likely picked up on our changed demeanor. Their guilty look is their attempt to communicate back, to say, "I see you are upset, and I want to make things right." It is not about acknowledging a past transgression. It is about responding to a present emotional state, ours. This is why punishing a dog for something they did hours ago is not only ineffective, but potentially damaging. They will not connect the punishment to the past action. They will only connect it to your current anger, leading to confusion and fear rather than learning. They are living in the moment, reacting to the emotional climate we create. Number 4. The unspoken language of stress. Many of the behaviors we interpret as guilt are, in fact, classic signs of stress or appeasement in dogs. Lip licking, yawning when not tired, averted gaze, low posture, tail tucked, ears back, and even submissive urination are all ways dogs communicate discomfort, fear, or a desire to de-escalate a perceived threat. When you come home to a mess and react with anger, your dog is experiencing stress. Their guilty look is not an internal moral struggle. It is an external display of their emotional state in response to your emotional state. They are trying to tell you, in the only way they know how, that they are uncomfortable and want the situation to resolve peacefully. This is not neediness or manipulation. It is an ancient, evolved communication strategy. Understanding this allows us to shift from a punitive mindset to one of empathy and problem solving. Instead of asking, "Why did you do that?" we can ask, "What caused you to feel stressed or anxious enough to do that, and how can I help?" This reframing is key to building a stronger, more trusting bond. Number 5. The mirror of fairness. Our projection of guilt onto dogs often stems from our own deep-seated human sense of fairness and justice. We expect consequences for actions, and we want our dogs to understand that. But dogs operate on a different social contract. While they can understand cause and effect and learn to associate certain actions with positive or negative outcomes, their understanding does not extend to abstract moral principles. A study by Range and Verini in 2014 showed that dogs do react to unfairness in resource distribution, but this is more about social comparison and self-interest than a complex moral judgment. They understand when they are not getting a reward that another dog is, but this is not the same as understanding that chewing a shoe is wrong in a moral sense. This distinction is vital for us as owners. When we attribute our own sense of fairness to them, we risk misinterpreting their reactions and applying human-centric solutions that do not align with their canine nature. It is a mirror reflecting our own values, not theirs. So, what does all this mean for you, the thinking owner? It means your dog is not judging you, nor are they feeling guilty in the way a human would. They are reflecting you. They are responding to your emotional state, and their guilty look is a sophisticated appeasement signal, a plea for peace. This understanding is incredibly liberating. It frees you from the burden of believing your dog is deliberately misbehaving out of spite or malice. None of that makes you a bad owner. It makes you human. Instead, it invites you to look inward. What emotions are you bringing to this situation? How is your reaction shaping your dog's response? By recognizing our own tendency to anthropomorphize, we can become more attuned to our dog's actual needs and communication. We can shift from punitive reactions to proactive solutions, understanding that a mess is often a symptom of an unmet need, boredom, anxiety, or lack of appropriate outlets, rather than a moral failing. This deeper self-awareness allows for a more authentic, empathetic, and ultimately stronger bond with your dog, built on mutual understanding, not human projection. Quick one. If this is helping you understand your dog better, hit subscribe. New decodes every week. The guilty look is a powerful illusion, born from our human desire to see our own complex emotions reflected in our loyal companions. But the science shows us a different truth. It is not guilt, but a sophisticated response to our own emotional cues. By releasing the need to project human morality onto our dogs, we open the door to a more honest, more compassionate relationship. We move beyond judgment and into genuine understanding. Your dog is not trying to manipulate you. They are trying to communicate with you, to maintain harmony, and to navigate the world you share. This shift in perspective does not diminish their intelligence or their capacity for love. It deepens our appreciation for their unique canine psychology. It reminds us that the bond we share is not about them being miniature humans, but about the profound connection between two different species, each with their own ways of experiencing and expressing the world. It is a beautiful, complex dance, and understanding the steps makes it all the more enriching. Thank you for investing your time with us today. Now that you know your dog's guilty look is actually a response to your emotions and not a sign of their own guilt, we are curious. What is a dog behavior you used to misinterpret, and what do you understand now? Let us know in the comments. New episodes drop every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so make sure you are subscribed to catch the next one. Until then, decode your dog, decode yourself.